Alright, we should be getting live here in just a minute. It might be registering that it's live now. Ow, stabbed myself. That wasn't nice, Mr. Kitchen Skewer. You weren't supposed to do that. Alright, you guys. It's Sunday. It's Sunday art day. Well, did you guys see my flamingo pens? Probably not. I had, these were on the counter one day when we were in Dollar Tree, and I'm like, oh, I must have the flamingo pens. I must. They're kind of awkward to write with because they're on springs, so when you're writing, it takes a little bit to get used to them. But I love them. It's not like I really write that much with a pen anyway, but... Well, I mean, I write a little bit, but not a whole lot. Anyhow. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing good. Uh-oh. She's got the board out. What are we doing? I thought we were needle felting. We are. We are needle felting today. I might have to adjust the camera a little bit more. Haven't made up my mind yet. Oh, when did you come in? When did you come in?
A while ago. You were still setting up when I brought Suzu in.
I never saw the door open.
You were in the middle of actually setting up, so.
Wow. I'm like sitting here thinking, man, Russell's been outside a really long time. I wonder if I should go check on him. Poor Momo's like waiting for his back from potty treat.
No, he's not. He got it.
Did you say anything when you walked in? Did you come in this door?
I came in this door. I didn't say anything to you because I thought you were setting up.
Did I have my head down or something?
You were very focused on your screen. Like I said, you were actively setting up.
Wow. That's kind of scary. I might have been typing something. But still, to not even register that the door opened. I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. Sleep has not been kind lately. And the fact that I've got so much to do hasn't been helping either. I got a lot of shit to do, you guys. Like, a lot of shit to do. I know I promised. Oh, that's a bit thinner, isn't it? Sorry, I got distracted again. So if that's the edge there, where's my edge here? Oh, that is a little bit thinner. Okay, so this felt's not dead on 9 by 12. I almost wonder if we should go a little bit smaller, but I think we'll have trouble if we go a little bit smaller getting the detail in that he puts in his. So we are starting episode 2 of season 3 of The Joy of Painting today. It's leaking a little bit. It got a little leaked. This one, like, his stuff's not that super detailed, but it's detailed enough where I think if we go smaller, we're gonna have some trouble. So we're just kind of using the backing from the 8x10 frame as my sort of guideline here. where I don't want to go past. And this time, we're going to do it on the front and potentially the back, if I can get it lined up on the back. It has to be in the same exact place though, so that might be a little bit more difficult. I don't know if I'll be able to do that per se. Let me put that to the side. I have not posted the I have not posted the last one to Etsy just yet. I know I still need to. And trust me, I am working on it. I need to get photos done. Before I can do that. This is just to help me keep an eye on where we are on the opposite side. You guys do not have to do this. This is a level of insanity that I am doing. Just to keep me from trying to guess where our lines are, like we had to on the last one. Alright. All done with you, Mr. Flamingo. Thank you for your cooperation, because I think these are a little bit off. But we're going to be working on this side, because this side's the better side, so. Yeah, I haven't posted the last one to Etsy yet. I wanted to actually have a couple more needle felting projects to post at the same time. And I just don't yet, so that is that. We have a bright orange background today. This was the next color in the stack of felt, and I didn't feel like disturbing all of the nicely flat felt to pull out any particular color, so that's where we are with that. I did promise to do a speed paint, which is really a speed felting, video compilation of all of the episode 1 live streams. I am still working on that. I did not forget. I am actively working on that. It's just taking a bit of time. Compiling all 13 live streams into one speed paint video. There's a couple spots that I'm seeing that I could have cut out that I missed, but they weren't that long, so at this point I'm like, fuck it, because I just want to get it done. Where I was explaining stuff off the side and that had nothing to do with what we were doing, but I realized I could have cut those out, and I thought I had cut them all out, and apparently I didn't. But I'm not redoing this thing because I've got 4 hours of background music laid in right now, and I'm not redoing that, so it's just gonna stay there right now. Yeah, I've got another hour of background music to put in. It ended up being 5.5 hours long at 900% speed. I couldn't make it any faster because then it would be really unwatchable. Right now it's still a little questionable. As long as you don't focus on my hand, it's not bad. But yeah, I couldn't make it any faster. So it's about the same speed that I do the Planet Zoo speed builds on the channel. So yeah, I'm hoping to get that done and started to export into a usable file either late tonight or tomorrow. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. Now, for today's project, since we're starting a new tutorial, episode 2 of season 3 of The Joy of Painting is one of his black canvases, and I think we talked about this a little bit last week. So it's called Blue Moon. We're gonna have the tutorial box down in the bottom. It's super tiny, so you guys might not be able to see it very well. So there is the link to it on YouTube. It's on Bob's channel over there. So we're gonna try to follow that, and we'll see how it goes. And yeah, I like picked the most obnoxiously colored background for us to do a black canvas on. So we're gonna have to make sure that we are really good and covered with our black fiber to get started. We are going to play a little bit into the tutorial here just so I can get an idea of where our horizon line is going to be. It'll help me figure out where we need to be. I do have the sound on this muted. So like I said, if you want to go ahead and watch that, then you can follow that link in the chat there too. And that will take you to the YouTube channel. Sorry, my voice is shitty. I woke up at 2:30, laid in bed for half an hour with the husband and the dogs. Well, one dog. So I just want to see where our horizon line is going to be. Now, he does add color to this, so we're going to have to be a little creative with how we're going to follow this one, because he did the black canvas, right? And then he did a transparent color on top of the black, and then he added white. So he's got all kinds of different color things happening here. So we have to kind of figure out how we want to do our version, shall we say. So I just want to see. So he's got like the black background, and then he's got the lighter dark blue, if that makes sense. He's got a dark blue in there that's almost black, but not quite. And then he starts putting in these cloud things. I call them wispy clouds. Because they don't really look like cotton balls. So we're going to have to approach this a bit differently. Oh, I have a stencil that'll work wonderful for that. Sorry, I'm just thinking ahead. At least I think it'll work for that. Alright. When I first looked at this and I was thinking about colors to get, I had an idea of how to approach this in my mind. And you know, things at 3 and 4 a.m. in your brain, they just sound more doable for some reason than they do at like the start of your day. So we're still gonna do this, but I'm just trying to to work out how we're gonna approach this. I'm trying to figure out where the damn horizon line is gonna be. For starters. We have to approach this differently than how Bob is. Alright. Okay, so he's gonna put the water line in now. Okay, so he's touching it. Okay, so what is that? Is that half? No. Well,
hi, buddy.
I mean...
I have a visitor.
Do you? Do you have a snacky in front of you?
No, but I think he thinks I do. Isn't that right, buddy?
Okay, so...
What do you think I was?
The whole thing's kind of gonna be black, to be perfectly honest. Okay, can we get just like a headshot here? Not a headshot, a direct shot of where we're at, because Bob, this is... Like, I was just kind of interested to where our water line was gonna be to start with. Just to kind of give us an idea of where I need to mark it off. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We might just kind of like, I don't know, is that about halfway? Maybe a little more than halfway from the bottom, and a little less than halfway from the top. So, actually, I need my pen again. And felting pad needs to vacate for just a minute. Alright, so... So, bobber. Let's see here. I feel like it's close to halfway, but not. So let's say... maybe... maybe about yay area, roughly. Alright, put you up there. We'll stick you... Nope. Okay. Well, that didn't work. I just dropped everything. Okay, that's fine. I'll deal with that later. I'm not going hunting for it right now. Okay. So, we need our implements. So, let's get our protective gear on here. Our little finger booties. Oh. Okay. And slide the needle out of its handle holder. And we'll slide that guy into there. Alright, so we have a couple of options here. we have our dark, dang cats. Cats are chewing on my bags. Alright, I'm gonna have to put that in a new bag. We have our dark denim. We have our lighter denim. And we have our black. So, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're gonna start out with the black. And then we'll add the dark denim in kind of around where the moon's going to be. And then we'll take our regular denim. It's not light denim, it's just denim. I don't think I picked up light denim. No. So this is kind of like that bluey purple that we were using before in the last piece. We'll use this one as like those lighter cloud things. So, because I mean we can't do exact coloration because, you know, that's paint and this is yarn. But we can try to at least look at what he's doing and try to follow as best we can with what we have, which is what we're trying to do. So, we won't need those two colors just yet. So let's start out with our black here. I can get it open. Alright, so again, I'm using acrylic yarn because that's what my budget says we're gonna use. And the last one we did with the acrylic yarn, and we were fine, we had no problems whatsoever. If you want to use roving, which is, you know, what most people use, go for it. My budget said, nope, you're doing acrylic yarn. The acrylic yarn does take a little bit more prep. So you would cut certain lengths of it, and then you get a sticker brush, and then you brush it out while you're holding it, and you're basically undoing the twisting of the fiber and putting it back to what it was before they twisted it. Basically, in the most, you know, basic sense of it. Alright, so let's get some lengths, trying to get them to cooperate here. Alright, I'm gonna start about where our horizon line's gonna be, just so that I know how far down we're gonna go. We're gonna try to do this as straight as we can. Actually, come back here, Mr. T-square. We're gonna have to be careful that we don't hit the T-square, because that could be problematic. Like, we kind of did this. I'm gonna go really slow right along the edge here, just so I don't hit it, because if I hit it too hard, we'll probably snap this. But this will at least help us sort of be straight. I mean, you can pin a ribbon or a piece of paper. I don't know if I would use tape to try to kind of keep your horizon line to start with. If you're gonna go tape, I would, Twitch is being funny. I would, like, put it on your pants first and get some of the sticky off of there, and then maybe take 2 pins and pin it on the outer edge just to make sure it stays. But I wouldn't put tape straight off the roll on here, because then it's going to pull up way too much fuzz. And that could be a bit of a pain. So, I mean, I know our water is basically going to be the same color, so we don't have to try real hard to keep this horizon line straight. That will kind of more so come into play when we put that water line in. But I kind of want to have an idea of where we should be. Now that's not fully anchored, so keep that in mind. I mean, if you want to fully anchor it first, that would probably be the better idea. I am just kind of trying to get something tacked on this edge here. I also don't know how long we're going today. We'll try to get something done here today, though. I did get a late start, later than I had really wanted to, but, you know. I've been staying up late trying to get some other projects done. So that's, yeah, it's not quite straight, but I think we can work with it. Alright. So I'm gonna come back here and just start tapping in. So, this is probably like the most boring part of this, is getting your base color in place. And if I had to, you know, the next time I get base felts, I'm probably gonna get like more neutral colors like tans and grays, most likely. Just so we don't have to struggle so much to get the brighter colors. Careful with pointing that at your face. Get the brighter colors covered. Let's try not to point the needle at your face, because that won't be helpful. Oh, any of my WoW challenges people, the trackers are now functioning again. All of them but teams. So Green Man, Working Man, Tin Man, Bloodthirsty, Pacifist, Iron, all the solo challenge trackers are up and running on the website. So go have fun. Progress can be properly tracked once again on all of the challenges except for teams. Teams are going to take a lot more work. I'm not sure if teams will get brought back. I don't know. I know it's lower on the priority list. I think right now they're going to be working on trying to get the state of the challenges back and functioning. I think that's the next project. But that could take a little bit of time. We'll see. But now that Zaya's on the team and now Nap knows what to look for and stuff, and Rud's been helping with some other things on the Linux side of the website, things have been progressing pretty quickly now. So it is absolutely wonderful news. This isn't straight at all. See, I can't even draw a straight line with a ruler. I probably should have just lined it and then, lined it up to the line. I think that's what we did on the last one, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Probably should have did that, but really, as long as we get that water line in relatively straight, we should be all good. But this really needs to be a glove. And I guess you really wouldn't be able to move your hand at all, because these guys are pretty stiff. So it is Sunday. The weekend is winding down. Some of you, it probably already is over, depending on where you live or your work schedules. Maybe your weekend is just starting. I was always off in the middle of the week, so I never had the luxury of being off on the weekend. I always had to work on the weekends, whether it was the craft store or the casino. And the casino was weekends and holidays were a must, unless you had a rare holiday fall on your day off. And even then, you weren't guaranteed to be off. Like New Year's Eve, nobody was off. Everybody had to work, because it was so damn busy. I think I only had one New Year's Eve off, and that was because I think my dad had gone to the hospital like that morning. So that was sort of like an emergency situation. So my boss was like, "You don't have to come in today." And I'm like, "Okay, thank you." Because my dad worked in the same department, so then they were technically down 2 people. Although my dad might have stopped working by that point. I think my dad had stopped working at that point. But they kind of knew the deal, and it was a very small, close department, which is kind of weird for a casino, but I think there was only like 10 of us, maybe 15, if you count the executives in the department. There wasn't very many for the size property that it was. But there was a long period of time. Well, no, that's not true. I just remembered I was off on the weekends for a brief period of time at the craft store. I forgot about that. When I was merchandising at the craft store, I was off on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Because, we kind of did business hours because we had to contact other companies a lot of the time and being like, "Hey, why am I out of this?" Like, obviously, because the company is out of it. "Why haven't you been shipping this to me? Has this been discontinued? Is it on back order? Do you know if you're getting it back in? Are you going to be sending me a replacement for this?" Like, What's going on? Can I get this order like 2-day aired to us? You know, that kind of shit. I hated having to call companies and being like, yeah, can we 2-day air this? And the company would be like, we have directions in our computer that we're not to expedite shipping. And it's like, but my store manager is saying it's okay. Do you need to talk to my store manager? He wants this to... Some companies would not do it, though. They're like, yeah, no, that's not happening. God, I remember... I remember one year, for like the holiday season, we were having such a terrible time keeping felt in stock because, like, these felt squares, because the company just, their shipping was getting to be ridiculous. And I was newer to the whole merchandising scene, so I wasn't quite sure, you know, how much I really needed to order. And then, you know, our store manager was really, really anal retentive about no back stock. Nothing can go in the back. What are you taking in the back? You have to show me if you have stuff going to the back. I need to know what it is. And I'm like, and I mean, and I get that, because they don't want us over ordering shit that's not going to move. But then they're like, oh no, you can have backstock on that. You need to have backstock on this. And I'm like, look, guys, the way my brain is wired, if you tell me no backstock, I'm not going to order backstock. Like, for me, a lot of stuff is black and white. You tell me no backstock, there's gonna be, most of the time, maybe 2 pieces, 3 pieces extra, depending, you know, if I miscalculated something selling well. Like, maybe it was a freak thing that particular week that everybody had to buy this. Maybe it was like a teacher or like an after school club or something that, or a birthday party that randomly freakishly bought this much stuff, and then it doesn't do that again. Like, you tell me no backstock, there's gonna be no backstock. So we got together, the assistant manager for that side of the store, and the store manager, and myself, and we were sitting there looking at past sales sheets. Because the fourth quarter, the company just wasn't sending me green felt or white felt or red felt. Like, it would be really sporadic, and it was in a section of the one side wall of the department, like on like a outer wall, where if you were walking up the main aisle, you're just seeing a hole straight in front of you, and it just killed the store manager so much. Hold on, I've got something in my eye. And I get that, it killed me too. And he's like, okay, so this year we're gonna order extra, and you're gonna keep it in the stockroom so that way we don't run out this time. I was like, okay. So we sat down. We tried to figure out how much we were gonna need, because this was an outside company for us. This wasn't something that, the felt wasn't something that we kept in the store's warehouse. And I think it was shipping from the West Coast, and we were on the East Coast. So shipping took a while. It could take like a week to 2 weeks to get it. So we ordered an obscene amount of prepackaged, like 3x3 yards of white and green and red, and then we got a ton of the individual sheets of white, and like your basic Christmas colors, you know, the ones that we had so much trouble getting the year before. Don't you know that when we did that, the stupid craft foam became all of the rage? I had felt in that stockroom for the next 2 years that I merchandised that department and could not get rid of it all. And I'm just like, oh my god. Why? Why? I think we had to clearance some of it. It was awful. I'm like, this is not on me. No, no sir. You wanted to order this much, and I did what you wanted me to do. So I don't think so. Oh, it was all of the felt ever. There was so much felt. Like, the boxes were as tall as me. They shipped boxes that were like 4.5 feet tall. Like, I could hug the box. I mean, I'm over 5 feet, but like, it would come up to my shoulders, right? Like, I could stand in these boxes of felt. I'm just like, this is a little ridiculous. Ugh. Like, they definitely, they made sure that they got as much as they could in a box to ship it. Like, I had to practically climb in the boxes to get the product out. I'd be picking the box up and dumping it on the floor because I could not, like, my arm could not reach the bottom of the box. It was ridiculous. It's like, really, guys? This is a bit much, don't you think? Don't you think? I don't know. It seems a little silly. I had another manager when I store transferred to a location in Pennsylvania for about 6 months. Because my friend begged me to move in with her, and things were not great at where I was living, and I didn't have the money to move out on my own. I just wasn't making enough to do that. Because retail pay sucked at the time. It probably still sucks, but it was like, I was getting like $7 an hour. No, it was about $8 an hour at that point, because when I moved up to Pennsylvania from New Jersey, they were originally saying, well, we'll be giving you a cost of living raise, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then they looked at how much I was making, and then they're like, oh, you're already making this, we're not going to do that. And I'm like, really? You're going to tell me you're going to increase my pay, and then when I get there, you look at my pay, and you're saying, oh no, we're not going to do that. Like, what the hell, you guys? You have more taxes than where I was living before. This is not right. I need to be compensated because you guys really were in desperate need of a floral manager or a floral merchandiser. I don't know what it was about that store's location. I don't know if it was built on an Indian burial ground. I don't know what to tell you. But the flower department in that store was cursed. They could not keep a floral merchandiser in that location. I don't know if it was because I was the new chick, or what, but everybody in that store, not everybody, a good amount of the merchandisers were so cold and kind of cliquey. To me, it was very unsettling. Like, I didn't really feel welcome. And there was only like 1 or 2 people that were even really making an effort to show that they really, really wanted me to stay. But like, everybody else in there, for the majority, seemed like they wanted me gone, that how dare I had the nerve to try to work there. It was very bizarre. Now, I had merchandised kids crafts. I had not merchandised floral. So before I left the other store, I was trying to take as much time as I could whenever I wandered past or I was caught up with things or was getting towards the end of the shift. I would kind of drift over to the other floral merchandiser and I would be asking her questions and stuff because she was willing to teach me things. You know, when she had a moment. And, which was a little bit helpful. Because when I got to the other location, one of their merchandisers for a different department had been sort of, caretaking the floral department on the side, and, it was just very bizarre. It's very bizarre. And I don't know if she felt like she was being replaced or what, but she was kind of standoffish a lot of the time. And then they knew I didn't know anything about the floral department, so they were also bringing in the buyer for the company, who kind of oversaw all of the floral departments in the chain, to work with me, and she was coming in like once or twice a month and telling me, you know, what I needed to do. She was basically training me, which I thought was really weird because I'm like, well, there's no managers in this store that can do this? Like, this is strange. Like, I really felt like it was strange. And it comes to find out that at one point there wasn't a manager for that section of the store. They were also having trouble keeping a store manager in the, like, as an assistant manager for that area, shall we say. So they had brought, I don't know if he was like, if this assistant was kind of doing 2 areas of the store, but he wasn't that familiar with the fake flowers either. And so we were both kind of like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. The store manager had us travel to another store nearby to walk their floral department to get an idea of what they were doing. This location was 3 times the size of the one that I was at. They had a lot more room to do a lot more things. So their table displays were a lot bigger. They could get away with a lot fancier stuff. It was definitely like comparing apples to like a dragon fruit. Like, I'm like, what? Like, this doesn't, there's no way. Like, or like a I don't know, a hot dog. Like, it was, I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay, so they're like kind of teaching me how to put the flowers in the racks that they had and stuff, because there were specific ways they wanted them in to make them stand upright, and how to fluff them out and make them look pretty. And I'm like, okay, I can do all that, that's fine. And that store manager, now, I didn't even know where the back stock went for the floral department in the stock room. Okay? When I got there, like, usually the extra for the floor display flower stems, there was some shelving inside the fixtures where you could keep boxes of extra. So not a huge deal. However, this department was so royally fucked. When I opened the back end of one of the racks to get into the storage area for that rack, there was so many boxes of flowers crammed in there, I didn't know what was what. And half of it was not even what the current season flowers were in the racks. And I just kind of looked at the buyer, because she was looking at it too, and I'm just like, what is this? And she's like, oh my. So just to go through those racks and make sense of that was gonna take months, because I had to learn what the flower name was to what it looked like, and figure out, is this currently in the rack? Is this even the same one that's in the rack? Is it the same number? What's it scanning? Like, it was a mess, because the first couple racks of flowers were seasonal flowers, and then the other ones were kind of ones that you had year round. And then every month or every couple of months, you got a new planogram to set up the racks, and this is what we're doing this now, and it was a goddamn nightmare. I'm not gonna lie. Trying to walk into a pre-existing mess and trying to make sense of it when you don't even know how to merchandise it, it was a lot. It really was a lot. So this store manager was, again, like my previous store manager, no backstock. You can't have backstock. And I had started to say, well, what if it's, and he's like, no backstock. And I'm like, okay. So I got in so much trouble. And then he realized how to communicate with me over this. 'Cause the other store I was in, when they said no backstock, there was literally no backstock. You had to effing make it fit on the shelf, or you better have had a damn good reason for anything going in the back. And they had to look at it, and they had to, like, notes had to be made about what was going back there. Like, all of the things, right? So you had to, like, really sell it, and sell the reason for why it's going in the back. It was crazy. So this dude's like, no backstock, and and I'm like, but what about, and he's like, no backstock, and I'm like, okay. So all of the fake flowers came direct from our warehouse, so I didn't have to worry about shipping from another company, and we got deliveries from the warehouse like 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Well, the fake floral department had flowering bushes right in your face the second you walked in the door. And sales started on Friday. So I had the sale bushes and the signs up. Everything was pretty. Everything looked fine when I left on Friday, because the sale stuff was right on the front tables and right in the front racks when you come in. When I came in on Monday, I really wasn't paying that much attention. Came in, clocked in, put my stuff away. As I was coming back out, he's like, come with me. And I was like, uh-oh. I was like, what did I do? I haven't been here for 2 days. What did I do? And he walks me up to the very front of the store. He goes, did you notice anything different when you walked in? And I was kind of standing there for a minute. And I'm like, no. And I was like, hey, wait, this is a different flower than what I had here when I left on Friday. He goes, yep. He goes, do you know why it was changed? I was like, no, it wasn't here. He goes, we ran out. And you didn't have any extra of the sale flower, and we lost sales on it. Like, he was pissed. And I was like, oh no, sir. I flipped out on him. I was like, sir? I was like, you told me no backstock. I was trying to ask you about having extra for the sale flowers and you cut me off and you said no backstock. If you tell me no backstock, I'm going to not give you backstock, even on a sale item. That's not how my brain works. If you are adamant and pissy about no backstock, then I'm not gonna order extra. And then he's like exasperated. He's like, well, you have to order extra on the sale stuff. I was like, I am new to this department. Previous managers told me no backstock. If you tell me no backstock, there will be no backstock. I don't even know where the backstock goes in the stockroom on the bushes. So he kind of looked at me and he's like, I was like, did you or did you not tell me no backstock? He's like, well, I said no backstock. And I was like, exactly. And I gave you no backstock. I ordered to fill the rack. He's like, all right. He goes, look. I think he realized that in that moment that I was a literal person. At least when someone is like, you're going to get written up if there's backstock in the back. So why the hell would I be ordering extra for the fuck's sake of it? Even if it was a sale item, like, he's like, no, on the sale stuff, you're going to have to order some extra. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But don't act like, you know, you're going to fire me if there's extra on a sale item. So then we kind of came to an understanding and knew how to communicate with one another. Like, he was pissed, and then he realized, I think, that it was his own damn mistake because I'm new to merchandising this stuff. If you tell me, dip, 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 no extra, no exceptions, what the fuck do you think's gonna happen? Like, no, there's not gonna be extra. Like, come on now. It was so stressful learning that department. But then, on one of the morning meetings that there were, because I think we had a morning meeting like once a week, with all the merchandisers and stuff. Then he like embarrassed the shit out of me, and he's like, for the first time in like X amount of months, we've actually had an increase in sales in the floral department. And then he's like making a big deal about, you know, congratulating me in the floral department. And I'm like, okay, cool, thanks. You know, and I was starting to feel like I was, it started to feel like I was settling in and I was finding, you know, where I fit in that store. I still wasn't happy because of other situations going on outside of the store. But I was starting to find some ground, right? So I was like, okay, I'm starting to learn and make sense of this mess. Cool. And then things started to unravel because we had to clean the floral racks. That was part of what I had to do on the daily. There was a book that we had to follow for where things were supposed to be, roughly how many flowers were supposed to be in each position. You know, they could be a little bit fuller if you didn't have a choice, but we had to like pull everything out, you know, vacuum stuff down, dust stuff, you know, keep it presentable, right? Hide the fact that maybe some of the flowers weren't a good seller by the fact that there was little movement in the racks and things. And maybe that rack was collecting a little bit of dust, so, you know. And plus the craft store was dusty to begin with. So there were part-time employees that came in the evenings, after I had left for the day. I never met any of the part-time employees that worked in that section. I never saw them. I think they came in like an hour after I'd left or something for the day. It was bizarre. The floral arranger, who I was sort of becoming friends with, who might have been a bit of a snitch, but she would, you know, tell me stuff I didn't care. She was talking to me, right? So, what the fuck ever. Somebody was not making me feel like a total outsider. So I just kind of went with it. And, the buyer for the department, or the buyer for the store, was like, okay, so if you don't finish getting a rack cleaned, that's fine, because, you know, you're doing 1,500 other things. You're allowed to leave notes for the part-time employees that come in that night, and, you know, ask them if they can finish where you left off. She's like, that's kind of what they're here for. They're here to help you get stuff done. And I'm like, okay. You know, I was like, all right, sure. So I had left a note asking, you know, whoever it was that came in, hey, I'm the new merchandiser. It was super busy today. I was only able to get partway through this one rack. Could you try and see how far you can get through this rack to see if you can get it finished? If not, that's fine. You know, but, you know, if you can get as far as you can, that would be really super helpful for me. Thanks. You know, not a big deal. It wasn't demanding at all. Well, the next day when I came in, the floral arranger was like, oh my god, did you leave a note for the part-time employee to help you out? I was like, yeah. The buyer said, you know, to do so if I didn't get finished, so that they had some direction on what I needed help with getting done and stuff. And they're like, that part-time employee flipped their shit and almost quit because I asked them to do something. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what the hell? And so I stopped leaving notes because I'm like, how am I going to get anything done? So I was basically on my own. And I very rarely saw anybody pretending to be an assistant manager for that section of the store. Rarely, ever. It was very strange. So, a little while later, the dude that was supposed to be assistant managing that area, who was always too busy in other departments because I never saw them, they didn't show up. And I'm like, well, I don't know what the hell's going on, because the store manager's like, have you seen so-and-so today? And I'm like, who? And they're like, so-and-so. I'm like, oh, they're my assistant manager? I'm like, no, I never see them. Like, I don't know who you're talking about. And it's no man's land over here, dude. Like I'm on my fucking own. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I am pretty much ass deep in these floral rack storage areas, trying to make sense of this shit, trying to clean up other people's over ordering problems. I don't have time to look for an assistant manager. Like, I don't know what you want from me. I've not seen him. He's not been by to check on me. I haven't seen him in like a week, so I don't know what to tell you. Come to find out, he decided to leave this plane of existence. And I'm like, really? You guys can't keep a fucking floral merchandiser over here. And you can't keep an assistant manager. Like, what the hell is going on? Maybe you guys need to evaluate your attitudes towards people. Like, holy shit. And then I ended up leaving. Like, I was only there 6 months. Like, I hated it. Okay. I didn't mind learning to merchandise the floral department. I really didn't. I was cool with that. And it wasn't overly terrible. But, I know my computer's running low on storage space. You don't have to tell me. That's another battle we'll get into later. But, like, oh my goodness. It was crazy. Like, 2 of the people were okay there. But the rest of the time was just, it was so stressful. And then I never knew how I was getting home at the end of the day or how I was getting to work the next day. That was also pretty bad. If we had lived closer to that location, it probably wouldn't have been so bad. But, just the mental stress was just way too much for me to handle. I mean, it's bad enough when you're trying to learn a new position, but then trying to learn a new position in a new state. Because I didn't drive. Like, I had my driver's license, but I didn't have a car. Couldn't afford a car. And, it was unfamiliar territory up there, so I'm like, I don't really want to try to figure this out, because it was all, like, really busy roads and highways to try to get to where we were, and it was crazy. Like, if I had been able to do or learn floral in a location that was a little more friendly, that might have helped things a bit, but I know a lot of the people that were really, really hard to get a read on. Or maybe it's just me. It could have been me. I get a little weird when I'm in situations that I'm not comfortable with, and I'm just kind of thrown into the deep end, and it's like, good luck, and I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean, good luck? You're gonna train me, right? Yeah. Good luck. And then I don't see anybody for, like, days on end, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing today. That was another thing. That department didn't really have much direction. Like, I didn't really know what I was supposed to be doing. Like, on the daily basis. Like, they had a lot of freedom that I wasn't used to having, right? Because when I was merchandising kids' crafts, I never had a moment to think in the other store, because I was first called to register. So it was crazy. And my friend was like, oh, I'll get you to work and pick you up. That's fine. And I'm like, you understand I have to work weekends sometimes, right? Like, if there's sales and shit, they expect me to be there. But I don't know. It could have been a cool thing to do, but I ended up leaving there and going home, and then my original store found out that I was back home and then wanted me to come back, except this time I couldn't merchandise again because that position had been filled. They wanted me up front running front end, and I'm like, you want me to what? And front end needed its own manager because of all the fuckery that was going on up there. Which was a bit of a pain at times. Alright, so like I said, starting off was going to be a little bit slow. And it's going to be a little bit slower on this one because we have this obnoxious orange to cover. And so the orange under the black, you can actually see, well, I can see, I don't know if it's coming through on the camera. I can see gaps and stuff in places, so we're going to have to make sure that we are good and covered before we move on to a different section. But I'm just going to try to get the bulk of it covered, and then we'll come back in and hit that up with the next section. I could use the big guy on this, and I might go over this with the big guy once we get everything in place. But he's kind of a pain to use right off the bat. I'm still thinking about getting a 3-needle handle. Maybe. I don't know if I'm gonna like it though. So I kind of want to go and pick one up and hold it to get an idea of how heavy it's going to be, because that 8-needle one's really pretty heavy. Alright, so you can see like where the fibers, the felt's being pulled in from where we are working. I'm just gonna smooth that out a bit. Or try to. Alright. So I hope everybody had a decent weekend. Yeah, I was always off in the middle of the week. So the craft store, my days were split off, and that sucked. So yeah, right, when I was merchandising, that's how we got onto that. I was off Saturday, Sunday. But then there was the caveat of when there was a special sale on Sundays, sometimes like once a month, once every 2 months or whatever. I was expected to come in for that, if at all possible. And when there were sidewalk sales, I usually got roped into coming in extra and running the outside register. At least one of the days when I was merchandising. But then when they had me up front, when I came back to that location, sorry, I just realized this isn't quite as tacked down as I was thinking it was. I'm just gonna kind of make sure that that's all good there. Okay. Then when I was running front end, I was off on like Tuesday and Thursday. And then like it was split days off, and I could not understand why I couldn't have 2 days off in a row. I'm like, why are you splitting my days off? That's ridiculous. And then when I was on the split days off, I got grand jury duty. So for like 6 weeks, is it 6 weeks? I don't know, the entirety of, because I got it right at the start of summer. So for almost the entire summer, I had 1 day off a week. Really, because the other day, even though I wasn't at the store, I was at jury duty. I could have switched my day And if I had, I would have been with an old coworker of mine. So at least I would have had somebody to talk to when we were on breaks and stuff. But she was telling me their days were non-stop. From the second they got started and like they didn't leave early, they didn't like leave till like right at 5 on the dot. And I'm like, wow. I was like, your days are really that busy? And she's like, yeah, aren't yours? I'm like, no. Because I was on like their first grand jury day of the week. And that day was like their money cases, like their fraud, their burglary kind of shit. And half the time, since it was the first day of the week, the witnesses, who were usually the cops in the investigation, had to cancel. And our cases were really spread out throughout the day. Like, we started at 9, I think we had to be there by like 8:30. And then they brought us in the courtroom like going on 9. And first case was supposed to come in at 9. Some days there wasn't anything scheduled till like 10:30, so we'd just be sitting in the courtroom, like trying not to fall asleep or reading or doing anything we could to stay awake. And it was so just, what the fuck is happening? The one day we shouldn't have even had to come in, because the one case, we had one at like 10:30. Dude showed up, and then he's like, oh, my witness had to cancel last minute. And we're like, really? Like, okay. So judge was like, alright. So we're sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. And judge is like, alright, well, the next case is at 11:30. And we're like, okay. And we're sitting. No. I'm sorry. No, it wasn't. We had a case scheduled for 10. It got to be 10:30, and we're sitting there waiting, and then the lawyer or whoever, DA, I don't know, whoever the fuck they were, came in, and they're like, yeah, the witness was running late, then the witness canceled. And judge was like, alright. So he's sitting there looking at us, and he's looking at the time. He's like, and by this time it was like almost 11. So he's like, well, your next case isn't till 2. And we're like, what? And he's like, so I'm just gonna send you guys to lunch now. Be back by 1:30. And we're like, okay. Some people, you know, that had gotten buddy with each other, they went to the mall to kill a couple hours, because we were like 5 minutes from the mall. We were right across from it, basically. And I got dropped off, so I couldn't really go anywhere, so I'm like stuck there. And we had to make sure our juror badges were visible, so I would try to find someplace outside to go read on the days where it wasn't raining, as far away from other people as I possibly could, and tried to make sure that my juror badge was visible so people didn't talk about anything near me. But it was just such a fucking pain in the ass for our days. Like, I'm I'm giving up one of my days off a week for this. For the entirety of the summer. Like, what the hell is this shit? Which made it super stressful on my other day off, because then I had to get everything else done, like laundry and groceries and just all of the things. So I really couldn't do anything for most of that summer. Because then, you know, working on the weekends, so. Like one person would be like, hey, wanna go do this? I'm like, I'm working. I'm like, oh. It's like, yeah, I work on the weekends now. I'm not off on the weekends. Or I'm not off on your weekend, put it that way. Working retail is quite a different animal. And I do think that a lot of people, if not everyone, should have to work like a grunt level, peon level retail job at least once in their lifetime. Preferably in their earlier stage of working. Because I feel like there would be a lot less yelling at retail workers and maybe a little bit of respect for them, knowing exactly how shitty their job can be. Maybe not, maybe I'm just delusional. I mean, I'm sure there would still be those people that are like, snap, snap, get this for me. But I'd seen a little meme thingy on Facebook the other day that had said something to the effect of, working retail is 90% of the time showing people how to do the chip reader on or swipe their credit cards. And somebody's like, yep. And I'm like, I don't know. I think 90% of your time is answering the question, do you work here? And I understand that a lot of people probably ask that because they're nervous and they don't want to make a fool out of themselves in case you don't work there. But I think it's like the go-to icebreaker question of, I really hate to bother you, and I'm not 100% certain that you work here, but I'm really awkward and I don't know how else to politely ask you to help me, so I'm gonna start out with, I'm sorry, do you work here? But I think 90% of the time you're answering the question, do you work here? I mean, you could be in the full-fledged uniform head to toe. Like, we had name tags and shirts that had the store's name on them on the front, and then there was some stupid saying on the back, or maybe it was the store name on the back. I don't remember which it was. But in the winter, we usually had coats on. Or, like, an overshirt or something that had long sleeves on it if it was too, or like a sweater. If they were too bulky to wear our work shirts over them, then we would have it over top of them. But, I mean, most of the regulars knew the employees on site. And, like, they would, like, you knew who was getting what, a lot of the times. And they knew And they would seek us out. There was a couple of people that I had gotten to know as regulars when I was merchandising, and then when I was up front, they'd be asking me like stuff about ordering for things in the department, and I'm like, I don't work back there anymore. I don't know if that's something that can be special ordered. I'm gonna have to get the merchandiser for you, or I'm going to have to get the assistant manager for over there for you, because I don't know dick. That's a new product, and I don't know if they are still special ordering it. Because we had this one lady that drove us all insane, where there were these little holiday craft kits that we would get. And they came in a variety when we ordered them. So we never really knew how much of one we were going to get. And she's like, well, I need this, this, and this. And I'm like, I can't guarantee that's going to come in. And we don't have this one on the rack. So the store manager's like, if we do this, you have to take all of them. And if you don't, he's not going to do it anymore for you. And she would still worm her way when it came time to pick up. She would pick up when the merchandisers weren't there deliberately, so we couldn't try to make her take all of them and argue with her. I'm like, you have to take all of the things. You're gonna get me in trouble. Number one. Number two, he's not gonna let you do this anymore. You're gonna be blacklisted from doing special orders. I can tell you that much right now. We had a couple of people that would special order stuff and then not show up to pick it up, which was really infuriating. Or they would finally show up to pick it up, and then they'd only pick up part of it. And we're like, no, you have to pick up all of it. This is taking up space in our stock room. They're like, well, I don't have the room to pick it all up today, so I'm only going to be picking up part of it. Like, we had a rule about special orders. You had 2 weeks from the time that we called you to come pick up your shit. If you did not pick it up within the 2 weeks, it was going back on the shelf. And some people just didn't seem to understand that. Because if we put it back on the shelf, there was no guarantee that it was still going to be there when you eventually waltzed your way in to pick it up. This wasn't layaway. Like, you order it, you need to get it when it comes in. We do not have indefinite space back there. Especially since our special order hold area was kind of taking up the seasonal flower section. And half the time their stuff had to remain on flatbed carts so that we could move it out of the way to grab the special order stuff. But, we'll see how things go with this project. This is my first time trying to do a quote-unquote black canvas looking one. So, we'll see. It is going to be a little bit more time consuming because we do have to put in our base color here. And I was thinking about just doing this on a black piece of felt and just felting in the colored sections, but then I was like, that's going to look funny because it's going to be different, like, see how this is? It wouldn't be flat, it would be different dimensions and things, and it just felt like it would be extra bumpy because, you can see where we're pulling the felt fibers in as we are felting this section. Or needling this section, I guess. This piece, this section here, is going to be interesting to pull up off of here, because I think I've kind of gone off of our felts, and we're sort of into just the pad area on this top edge, so we'll see about that. But yeah, I am still working on the compilation speed felt video from the previous project we did. I'm hoping to get the audio finished laid in on that tonight. That may or may not happen. I still have to get our Death Knight ready for Wednesday's WoW stream. For our Bloodthirsty challenge leveling, I've only managed to get the Druid and the Demon Hunter ready so far this week. I didn't have a whole lot of time yesterday to work on the Death Knight. I actually didn't have any time to work on the Death Knight. My day was basically getting up, trying to get some house chores caught up, and then the podcast last night. So after the podcast, then I had to do some things and stuff for Lita, and I was so distracted, I almost forgot to do part of it. I was like scheduling things, and I was like, oh, I didn't add in this, and that was a big part of it, so I was like, shit. So I almost forgot to put in the VOD from the live broadcast. I was like, oh god, what am I doing? I was so distracted last night. I think I was just tired. We do have some good news as far as challenger things go for the WoW Challenges community. The trackers are now back working on the website, all of them but teams, so even Working Man and Green Man are good to go for Shadowlands. I know we're a little bit late to the party, but we've been having all kinds of struggle bus stuff happening between website issues and coding issues and trying to find reliable coders that have time to help us and things and stuff. And even one of our mods had a little bit of coding experience, not a whole lot, but a little bit, and they kind of taught themselves what they needed to learn to help us, and so they've been rather instrumental in getting things moving and back up to speed once again. So we thank all three of those guys very much. And if anybody does have, I know I talk about WoW Challenges a lot, but I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff for them, and I do a lot of their social media account overseeing. If anybody has any trouble adding a character to any of the challenges except for teams, because teams is still down, please let me or any of the other mods know, as respectfully as you can and with as much detail as you can. You can either let any of the mods know directly, or there's a new channel in the Discord for that community called Challenger Issues, where you can post in there too. Because if we don't know something's broken, we can't fix it. And if you can give as much detail as possible about your issue, we can get it resolved faster. So, like, you know, kind of like name, rank, serial number. So we would need to know your character's name, you know, what class you're playing, what challenge you're trying to add it to, what was the error that you were given, you know, what server you're on. Is it North American, EU, Oceanic? You know, all of the things. We need as much detail as possible, so that way we're not trying to play message tag with you to get all of the things and stuff that we need to know to try to fix it. Just popping in the channel and saying, this doesn't work, or I got an error, doesn't exactly help us. We need to know the things. Well, what were you doing when you got the error? You know, what challenge was it? We need to know all of the things. Giving us more information than we really need, or that you think we need, is more beneficial than just saying it's broken. So, you kind of have to provide some details. We're not mind readers. We don't know what's broken unless you explain to us what you did and what message you got when you did it. Because we can only test so much, right? So, you know, were you on a PC? Were you on a Mac? And you know, just so that they can try to troubleshoot it with as much info as possible to get it resolved as fast as possible. Because, you know, playing message tag with someone and be like, well, what's broken? What challenge were you doing? What were you doing? Were you adding? Were you updating? And then, you know, what was your character name? And going back and forth and getting all of this info really does slow things down, especially when you're in a different time zone than us. Or you keep different hours than us. So, like, I might be in the central time zone in the US, but, like, I don't really become available on Discord till, like, I don't know, around 2 in the afternoon, and then I start streaming, so I'm not done streaming till, like, anywhere between 5 and 7, so, and, our coders, the one coders usually, disappears around 8 or so for the night, and I don't know about the other one, because, you know, the help team does have lives, too, so... We do go and take care of our stuff that we need to take care of around everything else, because it is a volunteer thing. Like, I don't get paid. It's all volunteer stuff. But yeah, it's super exciting that the trackers are working once again. For everything but Teams. Like I said, guys, I don't know if Teams is gonna come back. Teams is gonna be quite a thing to deal with. It's gonna be pretty extensive. Hi.
Wendy's. What were you gonna have?
I was just gonna do spaghetti because I can't be bothered
Then
with
good day
anything.
for it, isn't it?
Yes.
All right, maybe we can do pizza tomorrow then.
Yeah,
I
I
put
was
it
thinking.
in the fridge.
All right, I was thinking pizza tomorrow.
Unusual.
Yeah. Because I have to. Is it because of dishes? Because.
No, I already did some.
Oh, okay.
She just didn't. She didn't have anything she felt like dealing with.
Yeah, it's kind of where I was today. I was just like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, why do you think I ended up making that fucking pie? Which is not a good pie.
Really?
We're not getting that in the future.
No.
Yeah, it's gross.
Well, what was the other one that you got that you liked? Was it the crumble?
Smith's. No, we got Marie Callender this time.
Yeah, but I thought you had gotten Marine Calendar the time before.
I think I got Mrs. Smith's.
Yeah. And then you had tried the Marie Callender crumble.
I thought that was Mrs. Smith's too.
Was it?
I didn't think they had Marie Callender.
Oh, I don't know.
What did I do with mine?
They were on the table. Well, I mean, we still have the pudding pie, so it's not like we don't have anything.
Yeah, I know.
I know, you just wanted something different.
Yeah.
Sorry, we went hunting for stuff for Easter dinner the other night. Friday night. After Planet Zoo. That was the thing that I had to go run and do. because we needed to do that before I ate because Walmart's not open 24 hours anymore. And I felt like if I made dinner and then cleaned up from dinner, it was going to be cutting things really close. So it's like, let's just go now. And then, you know, we'll worry about it. Worry about all the other things later. So yeah, I'm so behind on house chores because it didn't help that I've been having migraines off and on really bad for well, not a full migraine. I've been having neck issues the past like 2 weeks, and that sets off a really bad, deep, throbbing headache. It makes me dizzy sometimes, so I've been really slow getting house stuff done. And the husband wasn't feeling that great, so he didn't feel up to helping too much with that among the other stuff that we've been trying to deal with, so it's been a hot mess over here for like the past week. Everything's behind getting done, and I'm just like, no, all of the things. Because I end up, well, I do about 90% of the dishes for the household. Because my mom can't see that well, and she misses a lot of stuff stuck to like the silverware and things, and then I have to end up rewashing it anyway, so Russell's just like, don't do the dishes to her. So I'm the primary dishwasher because we don't have a actual dishwasher. We don't have a dishwashing machine. I am the dishwashing machine. And it's out of order a lot of the time, so I got some dishes done yesterday, but as soon as I was done dealing with the show and went to make my dinner, there was like an explosion of dishes on the side of the sink that I had cleaned out, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, my mom, like, she cooks a lot, and she makes dishes at quite an alarming rate. Like, faster than I can fucking keep up with on a good day. It is incredible. Oh, we're definitely going to need to prep some more black here. I can tell you that much right now. Because we still have all of this to fill in. I'm not really sure how much I had shoved in here. Like, the bag wasn't exploding. So, but, you know, we'll do what we can. Alright, so let's work on getting... Let's see, I should still be in frame. I know I've got this turned funny. I know that. But this is helping me. So I don't have to stretch out too far here. My body's already not happy, so it's part of the reasons why we got a late start. My back and my neck have been bad recently, so I don't know what's going on with my back, but it's been extremely uncomfortable. I don't think it's this chair. It shouldn't be this chair. This chair helped the previous issue. Alright, so some of that we're gonna have to trim up there. Let me just grab the other one. every time I'm like, oh, let's try it, and then I get mad at it, and then I go back to the single one. So I'm like, oh yeah, the big one. There's more needles, so we'll get through it faster. And then it ends up not hitting all of the spots that I'm like, yeah, let's do that. And I have to go back and grab the other one anyway. This one is actually a lot tougher. Kind of left some sections to still be tacked down here. Oh, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. The announcing Mingos of Doom. Alright, let me see here. What do we got happening up here? Got some of our orange fuzz here, and I think it's just coming through the back side there, so that's fine. Not a huge deal. We'll get it all nice and trimmed up as time goes on here. All right. So I'm trying not to go too thin, so that we don't have to spend a whole lot of extra time filling in the little breaks and stuff, but I mean, that's just gonna be a thing. So, I mean, we'll have a little bit of orange peeking out on that top section, but that's okay because we can trim that up when we get done doing everything and clean up that top edge when it gets time to clean up the top edge. I'm sure a lot of it's just the orange from me rubbing the back of it to try to even it out. That's just kind of spilling over. So I hope everybody's doing well today. Now this is a slower medium for those that are new to this. It's not fast like paint. And I might just be a little bit slower at it because I'm being a little extra fussy, but I'd rather be fussy now and have it set up the way I want it to be than be looking at it later and being like, oh, I should have done this. And be in a position to not be able to go back and fuss it the way I want it to be done. Oh, this guy's a lot. Takes a lot more muscle. Yeah, I'm not a real big fan of this one. And I keep trying to use it every time. You'd think I'd learned my lesson by now. I just don't want to give up on him. I'm like, no, we can still use him, but yeah, we'll trim up that top edge and that'll be good. That'll be good. All right. Let's grab a little bit more of our fluff here. So again, I'm using acrylic yarn that I prepped specifically to do this. Wool roving's really the preferred fluff for this, shall we say. Oh, wow, that section really stretched out. So yeah, we're gonna have to definitely even up our top piece here. But yeah, it's a little bit slower, and that's okay. I mean, not everything needs to be done like instantaneously, because then you don't have the joy and the pleasure of the journey to get there, right? I mean, some things in life you want to get done quickly, but as far as like arty things go, like half the fun is doing the things. So see if I can felt this through and catch that edge here. I doubt it's gonna work that way. No, it didn't quite work the way I was hoping it would, but that's fine, because we're gonna have to trim that edge up a bit anyhow. So I'm trying to do this in an 8x10 size. However, I got pre-cut felt squares, so they're not exactly 8x10. I probably should have tried to go inside the 8x10 a little bit, but this is where we're at. So this is what we're doing. So as you are felting through, your base square is gonna change a little bit in size, at least when you're doing the acrylic yarn, it seems to. I think it does a little bit when you're doing the roving too. Just how it is. So do keep that in mind. I do try to give myself a little bit of a border when that happens. So I'm thinking that these quote-unquote 8x10 sizes would really be better off finding a mat to put over them and taking it up a size if possible. I would go like an 8x10 mat, maybe, and or doing like a custom mat situation, just to kind of help hide the slightly unevenness of the borders, because it's gonna happen. I mean, if we come in here and try to clean it up a bit with our scissors, it's still not gonna be completely straight. It's just the nature of it. And I'm probably not gonna put these on Etsy framed. At least not to start with. I will say, from just fussing around with the couple of frames I got from the dollar store, these get kind of thick doing it this way. So I mean, this thin piece of felt is like, oh yeah, but they get pretty stiff and pretty thick once you get all of your fiber layers on. So you might have to go without glass on them. So that is something to consider. Unless, you know, you get it custom frames, and they can probably try to figure it out. But like standard off-the-shelf frames, at least from Dollar Tree, because that's all the money I had to spend on that, definitely would have to go without the glass. And I would be afraid to ship these in a frame anyway, because the glass would probably break. And you don't really want broken glass shards in your fiber. That would be a right flippin' mess. So, you know, there is that to consider. Alright, get that evened out there. Okay. We're making some slow progress here today. I'd really wanted to start sooner because I was like, well, first episode is a lot of putting background in and setting up and all that. But that didn't quite happen today. Apologies. You know, shit happens. The schedule listed on Twitch here is tentative. Very, very tentative. So I do suggest that you follow the Twitter account at NiseyBGN. I 95% of the time remember to post when we're going live. And I do post updates on there as to whether or not stream is canceled for the day or I'm just running late. Or, you know, other things going on, updates on other projects and whatnot. Either that, or you can turn your notifications on here to hopefully be told when we go live that way as well. Because sometimes I go early. If I'm having a good day, we'll go early during the week. Because we don't do just art. We do games the rest of the week. Although soon-ish, we're going to be probably adding another art day in maybe, or just whatever the hell strikes our fancy day. Because right now we are doing we're doing World of Warcraft on Wednesdays, but I'm working on leveling challenge characters through the World of Warcraft WoW Challenges community, and I'm almost done my goal that I set up for myself through that. So when I complete that goal, we'll be shifting to something else on Wednesdays. But that's probably still a couple months out, because I had to slow down my leveling through that, just because I had too many characters that were too close in level. So my goal over there is to get every class leveled as a bloodthirsty challenger, which you're basically grinding to max level. I've got 5 left to go. So we're getting closer to completing that. I thought I'd be a little bit further along at this point, but it's all good. Easter Sunday, there won't be a stream. I happened to think about that last night. I was like, oh, I need to let you guys know that, because I have to cook on Easter Sunday. So, since I'm the main cooker of large meals. Normally I would just be like, fuck it, let's go. Everybody's gonna be home. I mean, people will probably be doing family things, but, you know, let's stream it. So I won't be doing a stream that day. I could push it back to later in the day, but I think I'm just gonna be too tired because I'm gonna have to get up earlier than a normal day since I have to cook for other people that need to eat by certain times because of medications and whatnot. So it's gonna be a long day for me, so we won't be streaming on Easter Sunday. So not next Sunday, but the following, and I'll remind you guys again next week about that. This week's schedule, tentatively, weather permitting, because I won't play a challenger if it's storming, because I don't want to risk the power going out when I am in combat on a challenge character. Because if I die, then I have to start over. So tentative schedule for this coming week, stream-wise, is going to be Wild Challenges leveling in World of Warcraft on Wednesday. Thursday will be Parkitect, and hopefully we can finally wrap up that campaign. Like, I don't know what to do. If we don't get it soon, I might have to start over, and I really don't want to do that. I might have to shut some rides down and remove them and try to squeeze in another roller coaster or something. We'll see though. Hopefully we can wrap that campaign up in Parkitect on Thursday. Friday we'll be back in Planet Zoo as I continue working on my build in the husband-wife duo zoo that we're working on. I'm a little bit slower to build because I'm a little bit fussier than the husband is at times, and we'll be continuing work on our exhibit nature trail that I got on the random wheel. So for that build, we're spinning a random wheel with different things that you could possibly build in your Planet Zoo park, and whatever we land on when it's each of our respective turns to start again, that's what we're doing. And if we land on an animal or exhibit habitat, then we have a second randomizer that tells us what animal we're doing. So we got that going. Sorry, I do peel this up a bit just so it doesn't get too attached to the pad, because the felting pad gets a little difficult to pull up off of sometimes. So that's why I'm constantly doing that. Alright, let's see here. Got a couple of spots where it's a little bit of the orange poking through, but we're probably going to have that happen until we're done up here, so we'll have to go back. And we've got the bulk of our black fiber put in here and cover up those areas. Not a big deal, it'll only take a couple of minutes. See, like right there, I've got a gap that kind of opened up, so I've got a gap there. I've got a gap in here where it's a little bit thin. And we've got this one too, so we'll get that all sorted out. That's all well and good. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's free, 100% free. to sub to the YouTube channel. I archive all of the live streams over there that we've done. Well, not all of them, most of them. There's a gap of some that aren't up on YouTube for a while. I just didn't bother or remember to do so, basically. Is what that was about. Sorry, that looks a little... I think there was a little extra of a gap up there. Alright, that's fine. Plus I have a couple of projects that aren't being live streamed over there. I really need to get back into Minecraft so that we can move forward on our city build. I just haven't had the time, you guys. I just haven't had the time. Saturday, I started to talk about our schedule this week and then stopped in the middle. So Friday's Planet Zoo. My scatterbrained ass. Saturday, there will be no live stream on my channel. However, this Saturday, I am going to be on the WoW Challenges podcast with Fair and Lita. We're doing a next expansion prediction thingy, what we think might be coming. They're doing the next expansion announcement, I think, on the 19th. And there's not going to be a podcast Easter weekend, so Lita's taking that off. So we're doing a prediction show on the 9th, I believe is the date. And that'll be 7 p.m. Eastern on their WoW Challenges Twitch page. Alright, let's peel that up and just kind of smooth that out a little bit, just to keep it from getting too bunched up. So we pick up some extra loose fiber, guys. I'm just gonna stick them in my little do not use bucket because they're gonna have the orange mixed in with them since it's coming off the back. Alright, so just grabbing some more of our black yarn here. I'm gonna have to prep some more black yarn this week too at some point. But I have a whole bunch of stuff I have to do for the WoW Challenges website as well. So I am going to be one disastrously busy person for like the next month. Maybe a month and a half by the time I get everything caught up, because I do the max level celebration blog posts for people on the WoW Challenges website, along with a few other things. And we've got a backlog of people to get through because for a brief period we could not verify that the runs were clean, that people had done because of a bug in the tracking system. But since that's been fixed now, we can re-verify everybody. And get those celebration articles done. But yeah, I'm gonna be super busy. Plus there's 2 holiday events coming up over there. Towards the end of the month is Children's Week, and then Children's Week is in May, the first week of May, I think. Noble Gardens towards the end of this month. They're like within a week of each other, so yeah, Noble Garden is sort of the World of Warcraft Easter event. So I'll just have to go over my previous post on that, make sure that everything's still looking good, and get that reposted for this year. And, you know, find time to do all of the other things in between. Very hectic. We need to do some yard work outside, too. I gotta plant some flowers. We got some bleeding heart flowers. I've never had those before, but they looked all sorts of fun. And then we picked up some kind of pink fuzzy thing. I don't know what it's called. I should look. It's across the room though, and I don't feel like getting up to find it. Some kind of flower bulbs. They're like, it's a long stem and then it's like pink fuzzy things on the top. So I need to get those planted. I'm not sure if we're done with our freezes yet though. We just had another freeze warning over the weekend. Even though it's 70 today, I think we had a freeze warning Friday night. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Tornado went through near us on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. That was scary. We just missed it dropping on us. We are not that far from where it touched down. The storm was sort of intensifying over us as it was going through. And it happened so quick. I was like, oh, it was probably just one of those quick little spin-uppy guys. It didn't seem to hang around very long, but it ended up being an F3. I was like, oh shit. Like, that was a little bit more intense than I think they were anticipating, because usually the little quick spin-up tornadoes, I mean, they can still do some damage, but they're usually not as destructive as like an F3, and you know, usually the quick ones, they spin up, they mess up with some stuff a little bit, and then they're gone. But they were looking at it's like 4 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning when it went through. Yes, I was still up working on some stuff, and was watching the weather. And people, yeah, people were watching the Facebook Live that the weather guys were doing, and some of the people that were watching were like, it's really calm at my house, and there's like insulation falling from the sky into my yard, and the weather people were like, oh no. They were like, well, it's unconfirmed because we haven't seen photos of it, but that would kind of fit with the debris signature we saw on the radar. And I was like, oh god, that's not good. That's not good at all. Alright, so you know what? My dinner is here, so I think we're gonna make this a short one today. Husband went and got dinner unexpectedly, because this is about the time my mom has to eat. Actually, it's a little late for her to eat. We will try to start earlier next week. I do promise. I will try. And we'll be able to jump right in without doing a lot of prep, because we're already, you know, basically started. So, we have a few gaps in here. Like, it's not really picking up on the camera that well. This one is. And then we've got like one in here. There's another one up here on the edge I need to come back in and fill in, and then this one, and then these two, and then we'll keep on working across to the edge, and we're gonna finish filling in this area with the black fiber. And then once we get that filled in, we'll start to put in our darker blue that we're gonna put in behind the moon. And then we'll use our lighter denim color for the clouds in front of it, I think is how we're gonna approach this. But yeah, I want the black down in the background first, just to kind of, you know, give us an even playing field here and something to work on. I was originally thinking of just doing the dark the dark blue color all the way, and then I was like, well, no, because we definitely need this to kind of stand out for like the glowy section for where the moon's gonna sit there in the little in the tutorial there. I think it would be better for us to do it that way. Let's see here. Who do we want to visit today? It looks like Keithy is playing Factorio. So we can go visit Keithy. So again, I will see everybody on Wednesday. I do thank you for the raid, or not the raid. We're gonna raid Keithy. I thank you for the follow. My brain today. I am so tired. So we'll go see Keithy. Thank you for the follow. I do appreciate it. I thank you guys for hanging out with me on the start of this one. Like I said, we always start out a little bit slow. Anybody that was here for the start of the last one knows that. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend and have a good week. And I will see you on Wednesday. Thanks, guys.